Welcome, brave souls, to a journey unlike any other. A descent into the heart of a real-life nightmare, where the line between legend and reality blurs, and the echoes of the past still haunt the present. Tonight, we invite you to step into the shadows with us, to walk the scorched earth of a town that's been burning for over 60 years, a place whose very name conjures images of desolation, mystery, and fear. This is Centralia, Pennsylvania, a town abandoned, a landscape scarred, a warning whispered on the wind. Here, the earth itself is alive with fire, and the stories it holds are as chilling as the flames that consume it. Let us begin at the beginning, in a time when Centralia was not a ghost, but a community teeming with life. Picture the rolling hills of eastern Pennsylvania in the 1800s, where the promise of coal drew families from far and wide. Here, in the heart of the anthracite coal region, Centralia was born. It was a town built on hard work and hope, its fortunes rising and falling with the black gold beneath its feet. The coal seams ran deep, an endless source of energy and prosperity, or so it seemed. For generations, the people of Centralia carved their lives from the earth. They built homes, churches, schools. They celebrated births and mourned losses. Children played in the streets, their laughter echoing off brick buildings. On Sundays, church bells rang out over the town, calling the faithful to gather. There was a sense of permanence here, a belief that Centralia would endure as long as the coal lasted. But beneath the surface, forces were gathering, forces that would turn this thriving community into a cautionary tale. It was Memorial Day weekend, 1962, a time for remembrance, for honoring the dead and welcoming the summer. The town council faced a problem, an illegal dump on the edge of town, a blight on the landscape and a potential hazard. Their solution was simple, even logical by the standards of the day. They would burn the trash, as they had done before. The flames rose, consuming garbage and brush, and for a moment, it seemed the problem was solved. But what no one realized was that the fire had found a hidden path, a seam of anthracite coal exposed in the walls of an old mining pit. The flames slipped into the darkness, feeding on the ancient fuel beneath the town. It was a spark that would never be extinguished. At first, there was no panic. Smoke drifted lazily from the ground, carrying a strange, acrid scent. Some people noticed a faint warmth beneath their feet, but shrugged it off. After all, this was coal country. Strange things happened underground. But as the days turned to weeks, the fire refused to die. It crept through abandoned mine tunnels, fueled by oxygen and coal, spreading beneath homes and streets. The signs grew harder to ignore. Basements became uncomfortably warm, even in the dead of winter. Sidewalks cracked and buckled, warped by the heat below. Yards that had once been cool and green now steamed in the morning light. The people of Centralia watched with a growing sense of unease as their town changed around them, the familiar landscape becoming alien and unpredictable. Then in 1979, the true horror revealed itself. A local gas station owner, curious about the temperature of his underground fuel tanks, lowered a dipstick into the reservoir. When he pulled it out, the metal was so hot he could barely touch it, 172 degrees Fahrenheit. The realization hit like a thunderbolt. The fire was not just a nuisance, it was a threat, a force that could not be ignored. Fear spread through the town like smoke. People began to see plumes rising from their yards, wisps of white and gray that carried the stench of burning coal. Carbon monoxide seeped into homes, silent and deadly. Pets and wildlife sickened and died. Children fainted on the playground, overcome by invisible gases. And then came the sinkholes. On a cold February day in 1989, 12-year-old Todd Domboski was playing in his grandmother's backyard, a place that should have been safe. Without warning, the ground beneath him gave way, opening into a steaming abyss more than 100 feet deep. Todd clung desperately to a tree root, screaming as toxic gases hissed from the darkness below. He was pulled to safety by a relative, but the message was clear. Centralia was no longer safe. The earth itself had turned against its people. Word spread quickly. Scientists and engineers descended on the town, measuring temperatures, testing air quality, and mapping the spread of the fire. Their verdict was grim. The fire, they said, was unstoppable. It could burn for another 2 centuries, consuming everything in its path. The government stepped in, offering buyouts and relocation assistance. For many, it was a heartbreaking decision. Leave behind everything they had ever known, or risk their lives in a town that was slowly being devoured from below. Over the next 2 decades, Centralia emptied. House by house, block by block, the population dwindled. The government bought homes, demolished buildings, and tore up streets. What could not be moved was left to decay. By the early 2000s, fewer than a dozen residents remained, clinging to the remnants of their lives with a mix of stubbornness, denial, and perhaps a lingering fear of what might be waiting beyond the boundaries of the only home they had ever known. Today, Centralia is a wasteland. The streets that once bustled with life are gone, reclaimed by weeds and the slow encroachment of the forest. Smoke still rises from cracks in the earth, curling into the sky like ghostly fingers. Trees grow at strange angles, their roots poisoned by carbon monoxide. The air is thick with the scent of burning coal, a reminder that the fire below never sleeps. Route 61, once a busy highway, is now a canvas for graffiti artists, a colorful, chaotic memorial to a town lost to fire. The Graffiti Highway, as it's known, is a place of pilgrimage for the curious and the brave, a symbol of both destruction and resilience. Some visitors say the air feels wrong, heavy with something that cannot be named. Others report hearing whispers in the woods or feeling eyes watching from the shadows. Near the cemetery, where the dead of Centralia rest, the sense of unease is almost palpable. Stories abound of strange happenings. A woman claimed her car stalled just outside town, and as she sat in the silence, she heard a knock on her window. When she looked, there was no one there, just the empty road stretching into the mist. Others speak of voices calling their names, of cold spots and sudden gusts of wind that seem to come from nowhere. Whether these tales are the product of imagination or something more, they add to the legend of Centralia, a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead, the natural and the supernatural, seem to blur. Some say the fire is just a chemical reaction, the inevitable result of coal meeting flame. But others whisper that there is more to the story. They say the miners of Centralia disturbed something ancient, a burial ground, a sealed cave, a place best left untouched. That the fire is not just consuming coal, but feeding on something deeper. Fear, regret, perhaps even souls. That the curse of Centralia is not in the flames, but in the memories that refuse to die. The town's legacy is a dark one. It stands as a testament to human hubris, to the dangers of tampering with forces beyond our understanding. But it is also a place of mystery, where the past lingers and the future is uncertain. The fire burns on, patient and relentless, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. If you ever find yourself drawn to Centralia, beware. The fire is quiet, but it listens. The land is scarred, but it remembers. And if, on a still night, you hear someone calling your name from the shadows, do not answer. For in Centralia, the past is never truly gone, and the spirits of the town are never far away. Centralia is more than a ghost town. It is a living reminder of the power of nature, the fragility of human endeavor, and the enduring allure of the unknown. Its story is one of tragedy and loss, but also of resilience and mystery. The flames may one day die, but the legend will burn forever. As you leave this tale behind, remember, some places are best left undisturbed. Some stories are not meant to be forgotten, and some fires, once lit, can never be extinguished. If this story has sent a chill down your spine, if the haunting of Centralia has burned its way into your imagination, you are not alone. The shadows are full of voices, and the past is never far behind. Here at Mere Legendary, we bring you the stories that linger long after the flames have died, the truths that are stranger and scarier than fiction. So if you dare, join us. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and prepare yourself for more journeys into the unknown. Because the scariest stories are the ones that are true. You can leave Centralia behind, but Centralia never leaves you. The fire burns on, deep beneath the earth, waiting for the next chapter. And the legend will never die.